Hey guys, today I'm going to show you my Krash Off-road aftermarket cage that I purchased for my YXZ. This cage is for 2019 and up model YXZs, but they also make them for pre-2019 YXZs as well. I believe now they're making cages for Honda Talons too, so check them guys out. I'm going to go over pricing, shipping, what I got out of my old cage, why you need an aftermarket cage, just go over some of the cool features and just show you what it's all about. Okay, let's talk about why you need an aftermarket cage. The stock Yamaha cage is basically just a roof support. It's not intended to save you in a fast rollover. They're not that strong. The stock cage has such thin wall material. It's not much thicker than exhaust tubing. It's a terrible cage, honestly. Real lightweight once you take it off, and it's bad. And if you're gonna have family ride in there with you, you want everyone to be safe. It's kind of expensive for an aftermarket cage, but I mean, so worth it compared to medical bills or the loss of a loved one, something like that. So also it makes your vehicle look a lot cooler than stock, I think. I really like it. So let's talk about pricing real quick. I paid about $2,000 for my cage. That's including fabrication. I added tabs for the front light bar and rear light bar. And then I powder coated the main frame black and the roof blue. So that ended up being about $2,000. I didn't end up paying any shipping because I'm in Michigan. They're located in Lower Ohio. So I ended up just going and picking it up, but I think it was about $400 at the time. That was before the quarantine. So I don't know what prices are now, but I saved about $400 by going and picking it up. So my stock cage, I ended up being able to sell that on Facebook Marketplace for about $100. But be warned, if you put your stock cage on Facebook Marketplace, people are gonna give you so much crap. Just throw it in the dumpster, just give it to me, all that stuff. They don't think you can get anything out of it, but there's some value in the 2019 and up cages because they look a little better, in my opinion, I guess, on the YXZ than the 2019 and older cages. So a lot of people with the older YXZs like to update to the newer cages. I'm guessing that's why they buy them, or people that have totaled their YXZ, they'll pick them up too. So I was able to get $100, so don't let people say it's not worth anything. I mean, maybe I was lucky, but that's what I got. Let's go over the options that I chose for my cage. So my cage is the short cage. They told me it's 4 inches shorter in the front, 2 inches shorter in the rear than the stock cage, and I haven't had any visibility issues. I'm about 6'1", and I don't have any issues even climbing the dunes or anything like that. I can see everything perfectly. I did opt for the intrusion bars, and you can't even notice them. I'll put a clip here of kind of the visibility. So there are other options of cage height. I believe they have like a medium and tall cage. I really like the look of the short cage on these. It's not too short and squatty like you see on some builds. I think it's just the right height. I really like the look. I think if I were to need more headroom, which I don't, I can fit my helmet and I still have a few inches there. I've never hit the roof. It feels really good. But if I needed more headroom, I think I would go with like the NRG seats, which are a little lower than stock. Bring your ride height down, because that also lowers your center of gravity. So I think I would opt for maybe that option opposed to going for a taller cage. Now I'm going to show you some of the features of the cage. I might slide in some actual pictures and some maybe outside videos. I really wanted to take this video outside, but it's the middle of summer in Michigan and we're in kind of a swampy area and the mosquitoes are absolutely terrible, so I had to do it inside. But let's take a look at it. Here's my Krash Off-Road cage. When I received the cage, I was absolutely astonished at how good of quality it is. I'm used to being kind of underwhelmed by products these days, but the craftsmanship is amazing, and you'll see that in some of these clips here. It's just their attention to detail is amazing, and I mean, I still haven't found any flaws, and I've had it for a year and a half. It's good. There are a few scratches on it for me hitting branches and stuff. Like I said, I've been using it a year and a half, but I mean, just the fact that it's held up so well in a year and a half, I'm always clamping GoPros to it, things like that. And I mean, there's some small scratches, but I mean, it looks great still. So these are the tabs that I had added for my light bar. This is just a cheap 42-inch Amazon light bar. I'm real cheap. Just if I break one, replace it, whatever. It works awesome anyway. But I ended up sending them my light bar and chase bar. That way they could fit it perfectly to the cage. So I'll show you. Here's my chase bar. It's welded in real nice. On the roof, I mean, they got the rolled edges. I mean, it's so professional looking. It's an aluminum roof on a steel cage, and you can see a little bit, they put the rubber or foam pad between them to prevent galvanic corrosion. They got the clean looking fasteners on here. I mean, I love it. It's got the handle. This one, it does bolt on to the stock position. I don't know, for some racing, I believe you have to have your cage welded to your frame. I'm not sure, but I don't do a whole lot of racing, especially not professionally. So inside, I didn't even know it, but it comes with the stock Yamaha mirror tabs. I didn't request that at all, but he threw it in. That was really awesome. But it's got one center bar. You can see my intrusion bar. I removed my seat so you can see the adjustable harness bar that comes with this cage. It's got 3 different positions. Depending on rider height, you can adjust it. I think it's really neat. It's got like a roller here, the bolt through it. It's pretty easy to adjust. I think it looks good. Doesn't get in the way of your radiator. Looks nice. All the welds on this cage are just real clean, real nice. It's got their logo in it. The powder coating is so smooth. Speaking of powder coating, I had them powder coat the roof blue. If you really focus on it, it's a little bit different than the body plastic color. That's because this is matched to the powder coat code of the A-arms and suspension. If you notice on the YXZ, the paint is a little bit different blue, so it's matched to the actual frame. But once you stand back, I mean, you can't notice it at all, really. These are the tabs that I had welded for the chase bar. It's also got these gussets here for strength, and it's got the 2 bars in the harness bar going across. It's got a lot of gusseting, real strong design. They threw in these tabs here. I'm thinking maybe they're like a whip mount, something like that, or like just a accessory light mount. They just throw them in. I didn't request those. It came with it. When you're installing your aftermarket cage, you need to take your seats out, and I took the rear fenders off as well. It's just a few quick bolts on top here, one here, and then you got one on this latch down below. On the outside, those are all the ones you can see easily, but there is one down in there. Mine's a little bit dirty, kind of hard to see, but you got to get that before it'll actually come off. So you got to take the rear fenders and the seat out. What you also have to do, you need to put a board across underneath it and then jack it up until the tires are almost off the ground. This relieves pressure off the cage. That way it's easier to get off. So once you're ready to take the cage off, you just unbolt the A, B, and C pillar bolts. Here's the A pillar, the B pillar, and then the C pillar. On the stock cage, it's bolted together in more locations so you can remove more bolts and it's easier to take out. Once your stock cage is removed, you need at least one more person to help you set the aftermarket cage on. So mine, when I set it down, the A pillar was pretty close. The B pillar, I still had a long way. I just barely got it on the tops of this pillar post here. And then the C pillar here was way off, but that's because I didn't set it down in the center here. What I ended up having to do was put a ratchet strap around this part of the frame, this post, and then go to the opposite side, same post, tie around that one, and just add a little bit of tension with a ratchet strap, just a little bit of tension to kind of bring the frame in just a little bit. After I did that, I put just a towel over this, just a little tap with a rubber hammer, slid right on there. It was really easy to do. And I know my frame wasn't tweaked because I never put any miles on this before I got an aftermarket cage. I waited to take it out because I knew how poorly designed the stock cages are. So I wanted to be safe. So it's not unusual to have to kind of push or pull or add some tension on the frame to get it to fit perfectly. The only drawback I see about getting a crash cage is the amount of time that it takes to get the cage. They do build the cages to order, so as soon as you place your order, that's when the build actually starts. Then they gotta fabricate, powder coat, ship, all that stuff. So about 4 months is what you could expect, or more, depending on how busy they are. But I really didn't mind waiting that long. I mean, it did suck, but the product was absolutely amazing, so I didn't have any issue with it. When you're ordering a cage, you gotta know exactly what accessories you're gonna want on it. I knew I wanted a light bar and a chase bar, but now that I've spent a little more time in my YXZ, I put some fire extinguishers on it, and I wish I would have had some mounts already on the cage for those instead of using those cheap looking clamps. And then I'd like some window nets, and it would have been cool if I got some clips for those. So it's just some things you got to consider. Krash Off-Road actually offers this same cage with a spare tire carrier and a rear bumper integrated into it. I didn't want those things because I like the less bulky, kind of racy style. And also the rear tire carrier works with the Yamaha cargo box, but I wanted a little more cargo, so I went with the Tesseract box. I did a video about that previously. But I just decided to not get any of that stuff. But I'm gonna throw a picture in right here of what that spare tire carrier bumper assembly looks like. This is from the actual Krash Off-Road website. Alright, that's all I wanted to show you on this cage. I understand that this video has a very specific audience, but I have been getting quite a few questions on some of my other videos on Instagram and things like that on where I got my cage from. Some people ended up liking it, I guess. I don't know. I absolutely love this cage. I think it looks so much better than stock, and I feel so much safer in it. Especially with the intrusion bars, just add that kind of extra safe feel. It also kind of feels like a rally car. I really like them. If you like this video, please subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. If you have a YXZ, I have a ton of YXZ videos. I got some quad videos, just a lot of off-road content. So thanks for watching this. See you later.